Stop wasting energy on things you'll never control. Have you ever had one of those days that starts out perfect, and suddenly it just collapses in front of you? One day, I was driving to the biggest meeting of my life. My heart was racing. This was the deal that could change my entire future. Traffic flowed perfectly. My morning coffee tasted amazing. I had prepared meticulously. But suddenly, I got a call. It was cancelled. No explanation. No rescheduling. Just gone. I slammed the steering wheel. My stomach twisted in knots. Why me? Why now? And right there, stuck in traffic, frustrated, helpless, and angry, something hit me. Not another car, not a flash of lightning, but an incredible, life-changing realization. I suddenly remembered something I had read years ago by Marcus Aurelius. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Instantly, everything shifted. Was my frustration changing anything about that cancelled meeting? Absolutely not. Could I control traffic or what other people chose to do? Not even close. My anger, my worry, my stress, they were all wasted energy, spent on things I'd never control. Let me ask you right now, how often do you waste your precious energy stressing about things completely out of your hands? How many sleepless nights, stomach aches, or moments of panic have you sacrificed because you're trying to control things that, deep down, you know you can't? Today, I'm going to change that. I promise you that by the end of this video, you'll never look at control, stress, or your emotional energy the same way again. Let me show you exactly how Stoicism can literally transform your life. Are you ready? Good. Let's dive in. Look, every day, life hands you hundreds of opportunities to waste your emotional energy. Traffic jams, rude coworkers, unpredictable weather, cancelled plans, the endless news cycle screaming crises. Every time, you have a choice. React and waste your limited emotional resources or accept and harness your inner strength. I get it, it's hard. It's really hard. Imagine this. You wake up, late for work, spilling coffee on your new shirt. You check your phone. Texts from friends canceling the event tonight. Frustration builds. Stress floods your veins. Your entire day starts unraveling. And yet, ask yourself honestly, can you control spilled coffee, cancelled events, or what your coworkers think? Clearly not. But there is something you can control. Your response. The Stoics, ancient philosophers known for their incredible resilience, teach us a life-changing secret. External things themselves do not disturb us, it's our judgments, our interpretations that disturb us. But what exactly does this mean for you? Practically, let's say your partner forgot an important anniversary. You're angry, feeling unappreciated, hurt. Here's the Stoic question that changes everything. Are these emotions necessary? Do they help you achieve anything positive? Or are you merely choosing pain? Stoicism dares you to question the usefulness of your emotional responses, to analyze if your reactions align with rationality and virtue or if they're merely pointless expenditures of your emotional energy. And here's the kicker: by controlling your reactions, by choosing to preserve your inner peace, you gain something priceless: freedom. Absolute, true, indestructible freedom. This freedom isn't about never feeling emotions. It's about selectively choosing which emotions are worthy of your precious energy. Let me share a personal story. Last year, I lost a close friend unexpectedly. Initially, grief consumed me entirely. My mind spiraled into uncontrollable questions. Why him? Why now? Why didn't I call him yesterday? My thoughts were chaotic, my energy exhausted by guilt, anger, regret, feelings targeting situations entirely beyond my control. Then, one night, alone, staring at the ceiling, another Stoic idea struck me deeply. Do not grieve over things that are inevitable. Death is inevitable. It's utterly out of my control. The sadness of losing my friend was real, valid, natural, but regret, guilt, anger, those emotions were entirely within my power, and choosing to focus on them did absolutely nothing to honor my friend or ease my suffering. Instead, by accepting the uncontrollable reality, acknowledging the loss, but then choosing gratitude for the incredible times we shared, I reclaimed my emotional energy and transformed it into appreciation and purpose. I dedicated myself to living a better life, honoring him with every action. I realized something profound. My peace, my happiness, my effectiveness depended solely on my ability to distinguish clearly between what I could control and what I couldn't. This insight didn't just help me through grief, it reshaped my life permanently. Right now, ask yourself deeply, honestly, what are you wasting emotional energy on today? Are you trying desperately to control other people's opinions about you? Are you consumed with worry about global issues you cannot affect directly? Are you losing sleep trying to change someone's behavior that refuses to change? Listen closely. Every ounce of emotional energy you invest into the uncontrollable is energy stolen from building your happiness, achieving your goals, and truly living your best possible life. Think about this powerful image. You're at sea, gripping the wheel of a ship tossed violently by storms and waves. The storm, the waves, are life's uncontrollable events. Your grip, the steering, is your attitude, your response. Do you grip tighter, trying desperately to control the uncontrollable storm? Or do you acknowledge reality, loosen your grip slightly, and intelligently steer your ship toward calmer waters within your reach? And here's the truly mesmerizing part, when you finally master this art. When you truly internalize Stoic wisdom, something almost magical happens. Suddenly, you're stronger than ever imagined. You're unstoppable, unshakable. Life will test you, yes, but you'll effortlessly turn challenges into opportunities, stress into calm, setbacks into incredible comebacks. But, listen carefully. This is just scratching the surface. If you think the Stoic idea of control ends here, you couldn't be more wrong. You see, understanding this idea intellectually is easy, but applying it, living it daily, this is where true power lies. There are still far more incredible, deeply practical, and powerful Stoic secrets waiting for you ahead. In fact, what if I told you there's one single Stoic principle, an incredible mental trick, so powerful that Roman emperors secretly used it to maintain composure during disasters? Imagine how this could change your life, handling any crisis with the calm clarity of an emperor. Mastering your emotions effortlessly. Would you be intrigued? Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Get ready for something extraordinary, because your perception of life is about to change forever. The secret Stoic technique Roman emperors used to turn crisis into calm. You'll never believe how simple it is. Keep watching. Imagine you're standing in the heart of ancient Rome. The city is burning around you, people screaming, chaos spreading faster than the flames. Fear ripples through the crowd like wildfire. But amidst this chaos stands one man, utterly calm, unmoved, fully in control of himself. Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher. How could anyone remain calm at such a time? What secret allowed Marcus Aurelius, a man with the weight of an entire empire on his shoulders, to face disaster without panic or despair? The answer lies in an incredible Stoic mental technique that changed everything for me, and soon, it will change everything for you. It's so simple yet profound. Once you grasp it, you'll never panic again. Aurelius called this skill premeditatio malorum, or, translated literally, premeditation of evils. I know, it sounds dark, even negative at first. Why would anyone deliberately imagine worst-case scenarios? Isn't that the exact opposite of positive thinking? Let me explain why this is possibly the most empowering, life-changing technique you'll ever encounter. Marcus Aurelius and other great Stoics, like Seneca and Epictetus, deliberately envisioned potential setbacks, disappointments, even disasters long before they occurred. Why? Because when the inevitable storms of life finally came, and trust me, they always come, they were fully prepared emotionally and mentally. They weren't caught off guard. Instead, they met adversity head-on, calm and clear-minded. You see, most of our suffering doesn't come from reality itself. It comes from the massive gap between our expectations and reality. You're devastated not just because you lost your job, but because you never thought you would. You're heartbroken not merely because your relationship ended, but because you assumed it never would. We humans suffer twice. First, worrying about something bad possibly happening, and second, when it actually occurs. Aurelius understood something powerful. If we mentally rehearse difficulties in advance, we eliminate unnecessary suffering. We're not thrown into emotional chaos by sudden, shocking events. We respond calmly, with clarity and strength. Let me share an unforgettable example from my own life, something that completely transformed my view of this technique. Years ago, I invested everything I had into starting my own business. It was my dream, my entire identity. Then, suddenly, I lost it all. Bankruptcy. The day I signed those papers. It felt like the end. I was devastated, unable to imagine a future. But afterward, stumbling into Stoicism again, I realized I'd suffered far more deeply because I never truly prepared myself for this outcome. I'd built my entire life on the illusion that things would always go exactly according to plan. After discovering premeditatio malorum, I committed myself to practicing it daily. I started calmly visualizing challenges ahead, not anxiously, not fearfully, but rationally. I imagined setbacks in relationships, finances, health, always asking, what would I do then? And something incredible began to happen. The fear vanished. Instead of dread, I felt empowered, prepared, and unstoppable. It was like training for a marathon. Each visualization session strengthened my emotional muscles, making me resilient and powerful, prepared for life's hardest hits. Now, picture this clearly. Imagine yourself using this Stoic skill. Maybe right now, you're terrified about losing your job, a relationship failing, a critical event going wrong. What if you calmly envisioned that scenario, not fearfully, but rationally? What would you do next? How would you adapt, overcome, grow stronger? By facing your fears voluntarily, you take away their power. Your mind stops panicking. You start making clear, rational choices. You stop wasting emotional energy on dread and anxiety and instead channel your energy into powerful action and preparedness. This technique might sound simple, but it's a genuine superpower. Marcus Aurelius used it daily, preparing himself not just to face tragedy calmly, but to thrive even under pressure. Imagine that strength, that power. Imagine never being afraid again, fully confident you could handle anything life throws at you because you've mentally rehearsed, calmly and rationally, every possibility. Right now, pause and ask yourself deeply, what fear are you currently running away from? What are you refusing to face directly, causing constant anxiety in the background of your life? Can you sense how much energy you've wasted worrying about outcomes you've never even calmly imagined or planned for? Now, what if you took control back, looked straight at that fear, and said, I am ready, no matter what? Imagine how liberating that feels. Imagine how powerfully that could change your life. And guess what? Stoicism takes this concept even further. It doesn't just help you manage crises, it transforms your entire worldview, teaching you to embrace life's unpredictability instead of resisting it. Seneca famously said, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Stop for a moment. Do you realize how profound that statement is? Most of your suffering isn't even real yet, it's just imagined. So why waste precious energy suffering prematurely? Let me tell you an amazing story from history that perfectly illustrates this. In ancient Greece, there lived a philosopher named Epictetus, who was once a slave. Imagine this. Every day, Epictetus lived under constant threat of punishment, pain, or death, circumstances entirely beyond his control. Yet, astonishingly, he never allowed external circumstances to rob him of inner peace. How was this even possible? Epictetus mastered one powerful idea, clearly separating what's within his control from what wasn't. He famously taught, some things are up to us, and some things are not. You can't control others' actions, nature, accidents, sickness, or even the passage of time, but you can always control your perceptions, judgments, actions, and reactions. Right now, seriously, consider the power in this simple yet transformative Stoic principle. Every moment of stress, anxiety, and frustration you experience today is rooted in forgetting this simple distinction. Whenever you suffer deeply, you're trying to control something inherently uncontrollable. You're trying desperately to steer life's storms instead of mastering your own response. Remember the scenario I started with, standing helpless as my life's biggest opportunity vanished? It was devastating because I briefly forgot Epictetus' wisdom. I was trying to control something clearly beyond my power, other people's decisions. But in that moment of clarity, I remembered. True power comes not from controlling the external world but from mastering your internal response. Since embracing this insight fully, my life has dramatically transformed. Challenges, setbacks, even disasters, they've lost power over me. They're still painful at times. Yes, but now, my emotional energy remains intact, laser-focused only on things truly within my power. The incredible relief, freedom, and strength this realization offers are beyond words. And listen carefully. You're absolutely capable of this same transformation. Imagine right now how your life would change if you genuinely accepted Epictetus' truth, that some things are beyond your control. But your mind, your judgments, your responses are always yours alone. How differently would you approach stress, conflict, setbacks, or even heartbreak? How quickly would anxiety vanish from your life if you truly accepted this distinction deeply and emotionally? But we're not done yet. Far from it. You've just scratched the surface of Stoicism's immense potential to transform your life. Imagine how your relationships could change, how your mental health could improve, how incredibly effective, focused, and peaceful your life would become once you internalize Stoicism fully. And let me promise you something right now. What's waiting for you next? In our final segment, is the most powerful Stoic insight yet, a hidden principle so profound. It could redefine your entire life purpose, happiness, and personal fulfillment. You absolutely don't want to miss what's coming next, because this insight is about to hit you deeper than anything we've covered yet. You thought Stoicism was powerful before. Wait until you discover the final Stoic secret that will completely transform how you live and love. Keep watching. Have you ever stood beside the bed of someone in their final moments of life? I have. It was an experience that completely changed me forever. My grandfather, who had always seemed invincible to me, was lying there, fragile, vulnerable, taking his last breaths. He motioned me close, and with quiet urgency, he whispered something into my ear, a sentence I've replayed 1,000 times since that day. I spent so much of my life worried about things that never mattered, that I missed out on truly living. Those words hit me harder than anything I'd ever experienced. In that quiet hospital room, I finally understood, deeply and profoundly, the final Stoic secret I'm about to share with you now, a lesson Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus all emphasized constantly, but few of us genuinely comprehend until it's almost too late. Life is incredibly short, and every moment you spend worrying about things beyond your control is a moment you lose forever, a moment you'll never ever get back. Marcus Aurelius famously wrote, "Think of yourself as dead. You have lived your life. Now, take what's left and live it properly." Sounds intense, right? Maybe even a little frightening at first. But this is the true, powerful gift Stoicism offers. The ability to use your awareness of life's fragility to motivate you toward living deeply, authentically, and joyfully. Ask yourself right now, if today was your last day, would you spend it worrying about someone else's opinion? Would you waste precious moments panicking about things you can't change, stressing about imagined fears, or complaining about situations completely outside your control? Of course not. You'd live boldly, courageously, authentically. You'd say the things you've always meant to say. You'd do the things you've always longed to do. And you'd finally realize how meaningless so many of your daily anxieties truly are. But here's the profound question Stoicism challenges you to ask. Why wait until your final moments to realize this? Why not embrace this truth today, right now, and reclaim your emotional energy, your purpose, your joy, and your freedom immediately? Let me illustrate just how powerful this insight can be with another deeply personal story. Several years ago, I was consumed with what others thought of me. Every decision I made was driven by a need for approval. Social media likes determined my self-worth. Criticism crushed me. Praise made me feel temporarily validated. But the anxiety never vanished. One negative comment, one mistake, one moment of rejection could ruin my entire day or week. But then, in one powerful moment, everything shifted. I discovered the Stoic practice of reflecting daily on mortality, memento mori. It's Latin for, remember you must die. I know that sounds dark. But it's not. It's possibly the single most liberating idea you'll ever encounter. Here's what happened when I finally internalized this. One evening, exhausted and overwhelmed, I visualized clearly my last day on Earth. I imagined lying in bed, just like my grandfather did, reflecting on how I'd spent my life. Suddenly, every worry I had, every petty argument, every anxiety about people's opinions, every unnecessary stress about uncontrollable events, appeared trivial and meaningless. I realized something powerful and life-changing in that moment. I had wasted enormous amounts of energy on things completely outside my control, things that would mean absolutely nothing when faced with death. My priorities immediately shifted. I stopped chasing approval. I stopped fearing rejection. I stopped letting others' opinions control my choices. Instead, I focused intensely on living authentically, passionately, meaningfully. I prioritized the people I truly loved, the dreams I genuinely cherished, and stopped worrying about everything else. Let me ask you something extremely powerful. If you knew with absolute certainty that you had exactly 1 year left to live, how differently would you live today? Would you still waste time obsessing about situations completely outside your control? Would you still sacrifice your happiness, peace, and freedom for other people's approval? Absolutely not. You'd embrace life fearlessly, powerfully, and authentically. Stoicism urges you to realize this truth immediately, not when it's too late. Now, imagine your life vividly. Picture clearly the happiness you'd feel, the peace you'd experience if you finally released every worry outside your control. Visualize the relationships you'd build, the goals you'd accomplish, the incredible inner strength you'd possess by focusing exclusively on what truly matters. That's the power Stoicism offers you today. Listen closely. No matter who you are, your time on this earth is limited. None of us are guaranteed tomorrow. But rather than causing fear, this truth, deeply embraced, empowers you profoundly. Stoicism teaches that death, rather than something to fear, is your ultimate motivator. It's your reason to stop wasting your precious emotional energy on things you'll never control. And instead, start living courageously, authentically, and beautifully. What if, starting today, you lived each day as if it were your last? Imagine how deeply you'd love, how powerfully you'd forgive, how joyfully you'd approach every interaction. You wouldn't waste a single second worrying about uncontrollable things. You'd reclaim your emotional freedom completely. This is the Stoic secret that changes everything. Marcus Aurelius put it beautifully when he wrote, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." Today, right now, you have the chance to truly begin living. Stop chasing control over things you'll never control, and instead, fully embrace your incredible power over the one thing you always control, your response, your attitude, your choices. Let me tell you one final story, a moment that embodies this Stoic truth perfectly. Years ago, I met an incredible woman named Julia. She was diagnosed with a terminal illness and given just 6 months to live. But Julia didn't panic or despair. Instead, she said something I've never forgotten. "I can't control how long I have, but I control how deeply I live every remaining moment." She spent those final months fully alive, laughing, loving, creating, forgiving. She refused to waste emotional energy regretting her circumstances or fearing her future. Instead, she embraced what she controlled entirely, her choices, her response, her mindset, and made each day meaningful. Julia didn't simply survive, she thrived powerfully, joyfully, authentically. Her last months were truly some of the happiest, most impactful moments of her entire life. Now, imagine applying this attitude immediately, long before your own final moments. How differently would you live, right now, if you truly embraced this Stoic secret? How much energy, happiness, peace, and strength could you reclaim instantly? The truth is clear, powerful, and undeniable. Every ounce of emotional energy you spend worrying about uncontrollable events is energy stolen directly from your happiness, your peace, your life. Right now, make the courageous choice. Embrace Stoicism fully. Distinguish clearly between what's truly in your control and what isn't. And finally, passionately, reclaim the life you deserve. Imagine clearly, deeply, vividly. How powerfully could your life transform from this single insight? What joy, freedom, and strength could you gain today by releasing your anxiety, stress, and fear about things beyond your control? This is your moment. Seize it, because remember, life is precious, fleeting, and beautifully fragile. Don't waste another second worrying about things you'll never control. Embrace fully what you can control and start living deeply, beautifully, courageously, right now. Final insight. Every moment you waste trying to control the uncontrollable is a moment stolen from truly living. Choose today, right now, to reclaim your emotional freedom, your power, your life. Remember these words deeply and powerfully, because they have the ability to redefine your entire existence. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. Now go out there and truly live.